Harbor had been found with 2 other dogs running the street for about a year. There was a guy that had been feeding them, and Animal Control considered him as the owner, but he never gave them housing, so they essentially were strays for an entire year. They picked all 3 of them up. When they came to Animal Control, all 3 of them were showing aggression towards humans. They said the people that lived in the neighborhood were saying that the dogs would try and run up and bite them, all 3 of the dogs, and all 3 of them had scars that looked like they had been fighting each other. One of the dogs, Animal Control, euthanized for human aggression. They would not let GPG pull him and try and work with him. They gave Harbor a second chance. At first she was not acting nice, and after a few days of her in her kennel and giving her treats, she started to come around, and eventually then she warmed up to all the staff. The other dog ended up warming up too with staff, so we were able to pull both of them and try and work with them as far as their training. When they came to us, the first day that Harbor was with us, we put him in a play group with the dog she had lived with on the street. Her name was Pearl, and Pearl went after another dog during a play group, and Harbor then jumped in. Well, during the fight, one of the daycare assistants was trying to break it up, and Harbor redirected and bit her ankle, so she immediately had to go on bite hold. After her bite hold was up, we sent her to foster, who generally didn't have that many issues with her in the beginning. She was very loving with all her visitors and anyone that came over, but gradually over time she started becoming more protective, and when people would come over she'd start barking at them and wouldn't calm down. So after about a couple weeks, the behaviors started to switch. She would also be very leash reactive towards people and dogs. The foster had her mother come over, who Harbor had met before, and Harbor was fine, but when the mom came outside with a shovel as they were guarding in the yard, Harbor then went up and bit her. And then she did not settle after the foster, so she just kept barking and lunging at her. So she came back to the shelter where we were trying to assess and evaluate her and see what was going on. It's not uncommon for those behavior issues to show later on. She obviously had some when she first came to Animal Control, but when she got to the shelter, she was a totally different dog. She was good with all the staff. She was able to go into the office where there was 10 people every single day and just run around and love on everyone, and she was generally a very friendly dog. But over time, those behaviors started to switch a little bit differently. When Harbor was back at the shelter, she started showing stranger danger towards some of the new staff members. She was still good with all the other staff members that she remembered, just we had a new shelter manager who she did not know. We had one of our animal care attendants take her outside with him so she could get to know him, but when they were going outside the door, they all kind of got crammed up right at the door right when they were going out, and Harbor jumped up and bit his arm. It was about a level 2 bite, nothing severe. So then the next day, the shelter manager tried getting her out of her kennel to see if she would do any better, and that time she bit his foot. So anytime things like this happen, we address them and we try and look at everything big picture. She now has 4 bites on her record. All of them were level 2s. None of them required medical attention, but still 4 bites is 4 bites. A big part with Harbor is with her background. Running the streets for so long in a neighborhood that does not want dogs running can really be detrimental to a dog. Many times people will be throwing things at them, yelling at them to get away, and overall not showing general friendliness to them. So she had at least a year of not proper socialization with people. And my biggest thing that I wanted to look at was if one of the dogs got put down for behavioral reasons, perhaps that could be related to genetics or socialization. But the odds of more than one out of that group having issues genetically wise seemed off to me. It seemed more likely that she and the other dog had picked up the behaviors from the aggressive dog, as they had no other dogs to learn from, and in general the public had not been all that friendly with them when they were running the streets, as they had to learn to go into survival mode. So that was a big part of figuring out her plan and trying to figure out where we go from there, especially since she had done so well when she first came with us, and she'd shown generally that she could bond with someone and not have issues with them after. So we had the trainer come over, and Harbor acted a fool. She tried biting her like we expected. But the good thing is Harbor took to the muzzle almost immediately. We barely had to do any muzzle training with her, so that was a huge win, as we then didn't have to worry so much about liability if we had someone come over if she would wear a muzzle. So you'll see here with what happens with when the trainer comes and evaluates her, and you can listen to all of those.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this down, and then I'll walk away from it, and she can smell that, because that will give her some information about me.
Okay.
And so will my bag, well, keeping her safe.
Okay.
All right, that's the first kind of thing that we kind of start with dogs that might be volatile. She wants information,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
But we have to find a way to safely get it to her. So the other thing that I might potentially do, and I can do that literally with anything.
Okay.
I can do that with a toy that you have in the, in the front of the room. I could pick up a treat and toss it to her. That still has my smell on it. So things like that. At this point, she might also be frustrated. She's gotten a little bit, of my hat. Now, I would just let her approach me. She's got a muzzle on. She cannot hurt me. So even if she tries to bite me, we're good. Hi. But this is intense, but information gathering. Also on your streets.
Okay.
In this pouch. So, hi, sugar. How are you? So I'm not necessarily going to touch her unless she invites me to her act. I know. Are you frustrated? Can you smell those treats, huh? What do you think? You want to come out eat?
Oh yeah, I see it now.
Yeah. I see. Can you sit? Are you frustrated? Hey, sit. Sit. Good. Okay, I'm gonna have you take her away instead of me walking away.
Okay.
And take her behind the desk where she can't see me too well. Okay. We're gonna give her a second to kind of calm down, then we're gonna bring her back out. Okay? She can, which what you're gonna do is you're gonna come closer and then you're gonna lead her away. Okay?
Hi. Hi.
It's almost like she's trying to seek support.
Yeah.
And then you can take her away. I know it's harder to do in that muzzle, isn't it?
Okay.
And then back over, and you can show her that treat. That one, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that to you before you.
You would.
That's another good way of her getting some information about me.
Okay.
We used to food share at Spirit Rescue. I had every type of
Interesting.
treat you can imagine.
The old foster said she always barked at people on walks, constantly.
Yeah, if I take her out for a walk, she barks at people. She barked at the trash truck.
That's good. You can reward her for looking
Okay,
to
take
you
that.
instead of the strange person. Okay. So the next thing that, and is she bonded okay with you
Yes,
as well?
we're buddies.
Okay, this is something else because this is just modeling, all
Mhm.
right? How do you feel about getting closer to me? I will not
Oh,
lick you and I will
yeah.
not.
Everyone's
That's fine.
vaccinated too.
Yeah, I'm fully vaccinated.
Okay, I go for my second one in like
Okay.
another week. Okay, so she can look, she can pay attention, but
Uh-huh.
you are going to approach me
Okay.
very friendly, okay,
Uh-huh.
but calm. Hi, how are you?
Oh,
And
hi.
just take a quick hug here. And it's like, okay, so this is eye contact, and when you turn around, you go back to your chair.
Okay.
Okay, that just models for her that it's okay to approach me. Now she's gonna come. Go ahead and bring her up to her.
And was she upset that you were? Oh yeah, she's sniffing me now. Was she upset that you were approaching me? Like, is that why
She
she was
was
barking?
barking.
She's
Or?
nervous about it. She doesn't know. She doesn't know
Uh-huh.
anything about it. Upset, agitated. for
Okay.
sure. How she feels about it, we can only guess.
Right.
But what we're doing, obviously, she is anxious.
Mm.
Okay, that's basically what everything is going to boil down to is how
Gotcha.
stimulated is a dog. It doesn't matter what the stimulation comes from, or even like if they're happy, excited,
Mhm.
because that can still tip over. When dogs are playing together and they're having fun,
Mm.
that can still tip over. That's fun, excitement.
Right. I didn't go
But
too far.
it's a very fine line to overexcitement, and overexcitement a lot of times will result in excessive behaviors.
Mm.
They have limited ways of dealing with their stress.
Mm.
Okay, introducing them to new people is going to be stressful.
Mm.
And it also kind of depends how the dog manages stress, how quickly they can recover from stress, and what we can do to make her intros as successful as possible for her. Okay, so that's a little bit of what I'm trying to find, instead of doing something that's typical like a safer test,
Right.
which is, you know, kind of unfair.
Yeah.
The fact that she has bonded with staff, anybody, is a great first step, period. Okay, because at one point you guys were strangers to her.
Right.
She met you in some way. Now granted, if she didn't know anybody,
Right.
she was meeting just all new people, that makes things a whole lot easier, right?
And that's how it was. She was really good when she first came in. It's now like she's been here a while that she's now doesn't meet people well.
Discriminating. She's discriminating between who she knows and who she doesn't. Before she was a blank slate. She had no way of differentiating.
Right.
Now she has preferences. Her preferences are the people that she knows. Among the people that she knows, she's probably going to have preferences. People that, you know, either indulge what she wants to do or make her feel good about herself or whatever it is that they do for her. She'll have preferences within those relationships as well. So what does that mean for her? One thing is that's good right now is that she's ignoring me.
Yeah.
Okay, and that took, what time is it?
I've going for 9 minutes.
Okay, so under 10 minutes, she has calmed down reasonably. I'm gonna have you again kind of do the same thing where you're gonna walk her closer. And as you get closer, now I want you just to stop and then just turn around and go the other direction. If she barks, you're gonna turn away, okay? So, and what I would prefer is if we were, say, is that she gave quicker signals, but she's energetic right now, period, right? She's a little intense right now. So bring her this way again. And now turn around. Perfect. Because what I want her to do is be shown that getting close to me is not going to result in anything bad, but also that her actions don't influence my behavior. All right? So what I mean by that is when I first came in here and she was going after my feet, what I asked you to do is you take her away from me. Because she was trying to drive me away, right? That was more than likely her intentions of doing that. Step back, give me space, you're too close, you're in the room. She wanted me to go away. If she has success at that in her mind, if she feels like she has had success with that, she will do it again.
Right.
All right. So that's why when she comes closer, what we show her is that, hey, when you're feeling uncomfortable, retreating is an option.
Gotcha.
I'm going to take you away. I'm still not going to force you into a situation that you don't want to be in. So I'm going to take you out of it. This shows her how to trust her handler, that her handler will not rush her into a situation that she's not prepared for. Okay. So now what I want you to do is I want you to step forward about a third of the way and see if you just pet her. Just stop right there, call her to you, see if she'll engage with you again.
Good girl. Good job. Yeah, good girl. Good girl.
Because right here she's fairly relaxed.
Yeah.
And she's got her back to me,
Mm-hmm.
which is, you know, also a big deal. Now, this
Yeah.
is not to say that if I stood up, she wouldn't respond dramatically. She probably would, right? But I do think you're absolutely right, Brittany, that her being a successful street dog for a year,
Yeah.
people at the very least will represent things that she doesn't want to happen. They don't have to have been abusive, they don't have to have been traumatizing, but they could have even been go away.
Yeah.
You know, it's, you know, I'm not feeding you, get out of here, chasing her off, blocking her access to things.
Yeah.
She, you know, even if she's had good experiences with people, chances are she's had more negative ones.
Yeah.
And they don't have to be horrible to be negative.
Yeah.
All right. That was her life.
Mm-hmm.
I read an interesting quote a while back on that for a rescue dog, and you may be familiar with this, that for a rescue dog, that the single most traumatizing event for them up to the point of rescue is the rescue itself.
Oh. Yeah.
Because they're actually comfortable in their lives.
Yeah.
Even if their lives are total crap, it is familiar to them. Here. There you go, good girl. I know.
Yeah, now she's facing you and not barking.
And I'm gonna reward her for, you know, for looking at me. I still am not requiring her to go beyond her comfort limits of getting close to me, right? Here, pay attention. Here, girl. Oh, and she gets rewarded for going away. That's the other thing that I try. I'm not trying to, hey, here, little girl, come closer to me. I'm not trying to do any of that. What I'm trying to do is make her feel good about the choices that she wants to make, which is not chasing me off.
Yeah, she's doing better and better. Look at that. Good girl.
There you go. And then as soon as she's done, just lead her back away. Okay, and now she's almost done. Okay, and you can just say, all right with me. And then give her a lot of praise. You're bonding with her.
Good girl.
A good reward for a dog.
job, Harper.
You don't want to bond with the dog, they don't care how you feel about it.
Good girl. Yeah, that's a good girl.
And she can relax from that a little bit now, perfect. And if she wants to approach me again, she can, because now we're kind of friends.
Oh.
I'm up here, no shoes. Oh, good job, good girl, good girl. Good job. Okay, good girl. And
Good
then
job,
again,
Harper.
all right.
Nice.
Good girl.
Obviously, multiple intros, and she can approach me again. Again, we're gonna do this. Oh, good girl. Can you sit? Here you go. Wait. Oh,
Look at that. All your friends now.
Oh, good job. Good job. Good girl. All right.
Good. You got it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, good job. Oh, where are you going? To the walk. She just wants to keep going back now.
Good job. Here you go. Right there. Almost. Oh, you got one. Here you go. Oh, good girl. All right, take her away.
Okay, come on.
Because she still wants to get kind of intense when the food is gone.
Mm.
And that's another
Oh, yeah.
caveat is, okay, as long as the food is coming, I'm okay being close to you.
Yeah.
All right. So that's one step. Now we had an intro. The next thing, honestly, that I would do with her as an adopter, and in my opinion, a dog that has some special needs, the adopter not only should know it, but because I do think that there should be a specific adoption process for dogs like her. Because I think if an adopter goes through it, they're much more likely to commit to what the dog needs in the home instead of just giving you a bunch of lip service on, oh, okay, I promise I'll do all those things.
Right.
Let me take the dog home. And then you let them go home, and then, 2 days later, here they come right back because they didn't adhere to anything you said. The next thing that I'm going to try with her, because we got in this little intro, at least where she'll come up and not necessarily start off with biting me. She was nibbling again when we ran out of treats and when I had nothing and didn't immediately start doing this again, which is why it's like, okay, bring her back away. She does not have to be close to me in that regard, right?
And that's something I think people have to be aware of, that like, because it would be easy to be like, oh, she's friends with you now, like, let's take off the muzzle and be okay. And then she would end up biting you because
So
we thought she was okay.
Multiple intros for a dog like this, which probably is on the, on her list anyway, is where, people should start off with that. The next thing I'm going to do with her is walk her.
Okay.
And I'm actually gonna walk her without you.
Okay. Yep.
And see how she goes. Now, could you do that with an adopter? Not necessarily, but this is a process that will tell us how long it takes her to kind of accept the person. And that gives you a process to start doing with an adopter. Because again, she shouldn't be going to a novice adopter either. So, yes, you guys might be comfortable letting me take her for a walk, but an adopter, you're also gonna have to be comfortable to some degree letting them take her for one.
Right.
She should be muzzled.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Definitely on the walk, not only for the handler's protection, because I strongly suspect she'll be different
Yeah.
with when somebody's just walking her.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
But in case the handler cannot handle her and she gets close enough to someone else,
Right.
that's the thing that we really want.
Or someone approaches before the handler can
Right.
stop them.
What we
whatever.
don't want, because again, I more suspect that she will be more comfortable with me without you guys
I
around.
think so too.
And so that's, again, that gives us kind of steps
Mm.
in that direction.
No. That's good difficulty.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. I know. Okay. Good girl. You go for a walk? Good girl. I know that's better. Good girl. Good. That's a good girl. Hey, you can go for a walk? You go with me? What do you think? That was an intense minute, wasn't it? Feel that leash touching you? Yeah, it's over there. Go check it out. Hmm? Go see? Look. Thank you.
It's like she's learned she can't bite to get you off, so now she's just trying to jump it when you
Yeah.
bark and see if that works.
Good
She's
girl.
like, I don't like this situation. I'm gonna try everything I can.
Okay.
Like, I don't like you.
I know. She was like, damn.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you pick up that leash.
Let me take the other off.
Yeah, you can take mine off.
See, girl, you learned you can't bite to get out of what you
And
want
you're
to
gonna
do.
take her away, and we're gonna kind of walk her a little bit. Let her relax, okay?
So after the training evaluation, the trainer agreed with what I was thinking, that it seems like some lack of socialization and some unwanted learned behaviors perhaps could have attributed to what her behaviors are. We think she could be a product of her environment, and the Unicorn program is based around trying to rehabilitate these type of dogs. She is an extreme case of a unicorn, as you can tell by the video. So we came up with an intense training plan for a foster to report with us every week, do multiple meets before they take her, and work with the trainer during these times. We have a foster that likes to take these type of dogs, so I reached out to her and she immediately said yes. So we arranged for her to meet her a few times. The first time Harbor, and each time she wore a muzzle, the first time Harbor acted a fool and tried jumping up and biting at her. But then the second time she never did. And then the third time she never did. And by the fourth time she was allowing her to be petted by her. So the foster is really good about doing slow intros. So we were able to work around that. If she wouldn't have been, we maybe would have tried to get a little bit more creative in figuring out how we need to do best with human to dog intros. But this foster was wanted to do multiple, as many as possible. So for the last time, she went up there when no staff was in there, was able to take her out without any issues, and then she took her home that day. Now that Harbor is in a foster home, we have a survey for the foster to fill out weekly that she reports back to us with how her behaviors are, to make sure her behaviors aren't getting worse. And the big scheme of everything is we want to see if we can reverse what she has learned with people, that people are not scary, that she does not have to go on essentially go on the attack when someone new comes. Because what has happened is she has learned that if she goes to try and bite them, they run away. The stimulus that she doesn't want, in this case people, will go away. So what the goal is, we need to teach her that by biting, people won't run away, and that's where the muzzle comes in. And then eventually she has to learn, she has to start doing growling or snarling if she's uncomfortable, do actual warning signals instead of just going directly to biting. So the foster has her now. She's working good with her socialization, and overall she's doing really well. She's also working for Harbor to really concentrate on her, as she's the handler. So then if she ever has people over, that she knows how to stay calm and can relax and can trust the handler and the situation. Also with making sure she's extremely crate trained so she can be put up during those situations. So it's an ongoing thing. We don't expect results within 2 days. We know this could take many months to try and see actual progress, but given her history, we felt like we wanted to give her a fair shot at trying to do everything we can to see if we can truly rehabilitate her.